What if the history we know is a carefully constructed lie? What if a secret manuscript, hidden in the dusty archives of an Egyptian dynasty, tells a different story, one the world was never meant to discover? This isn't about Atlantis. This is about a tragic tale that happened 5,000 years ago. A story of a kingdom lost to the waves and a water spirit who sacrificed his home for a single mortal woman. This is the truth behind the man they called Aquaman. Our story begins with a young woman named Iona. She had just been married and was sailing home with her new husband. They were happy and in love, traveling on a big ship across a huge ocean. They thought their life was just beginning until tragedy struck. 2 weeks into their trip, everything changed. A terrible, angry storm came out of nowhere. It was a hurricane so strong, no one on the ship had ever seen or experienced anything like it. The wind howled, and the waves became like giant mountains crashing down on their ship. The ship broke into pieces and sank deep into the sea. Iona was knocked out. When she woke up, she found herself floating alone on a small piece of the ship. Her husband was gone. The people from the ship were gone, with a few bodies scattered floating in the ocean. She was surrounded by nothing but the vast ocean, and her heart was broken, grieving because she was certainly the only one who survived the crash. She screamed for help, but no one answered. It was indeed hopeless for her, that situation. She wanted to give up, but she knew she had to live. For 69 long days, she floated on that piece of wood, using what little food she could find from the broken ship. She was so alone and so sad. During those days, her mind started to play tricks on her because she was so tired and thirsty. She saw things that weren't there. She saw her husband's face in the waves, and she saw ships that were not real. She often saw her dead floating self talking to her. Sometimes her newly wedded husband's floating dead body would rise to talk to her. By day 63, her food and water had totally finished, and the hallucinations got worse. She thought her end was near, silently praying for a miracle to happen. But nature had other plans for her. On the 69th day, a miracle happened. She looked ahead and saw land. At first, she thought it was just another dream, but as she got closer, she saw that it was a strange, unknown island where trees grew from rock. It was a place where the trees glowed with a strange golden light, and the water was the clearest and most beautiful she had ever seen. She felt a strange pull to the island, but she also felt that something was wrong. Birds would fly near the island, but would suddenly turn away, as if an invisible wall was keeping them out. She ate the golden fruit and drank the pure water, but soon she began to feel weak, as if the island was taking her life away. She started to hear strange whispers and see strange marks on the rocks. She felt like she was trapped between being alive and being a ghost. She saw the events and history of strange beings who dwelled on the island. It was as if the island were showing her what she shouldn't be seeing. Her mind was lost and her heart was broken. It was at that moment of total sadness that a man came out of the ocean. His skin was as dark as the deep sea, and his eyes were the color of the evening sky. He did not speak, but he brought her fresh food from the ocean and helped her. He was Orin, the dreaming god of the Atlantic, and he was the only one who could help her. He was a silent protector, a mystery who would sometimes disappear for days at a time. Iona, who was so lonely and had lost so much, began to love him. One night, after a terrible storm, Orin returned, hurt and sad, as if he was returning from a war. They found comfort in each other, and a new life began. Orin knew she was now carrying his child. He used his power to guide a ship to the island, telling Iona that it was time for her to return to her world, but that he would always be with her. Iona got on the ship, not knowing that she was carrying a secret that would one day change the world. The ship finally arrived at a small village far away from Iona's old home. The people there were kind, and one family took her in. They helped her get better, giving her food and a safe place to sleep. But the family had a son,
and he wanted to marry Iona. Iona was polite, but she said no. Her heart still belonged to the man who saved her from the ocean. The man's son grew angry with her. He made her feel unwelcome and was not kind to her. Iona knew she couldn't stay there. So, with very little money, she decided to move out on her own. She was alone, but she was free. Soon after, Iona gave birth to her son. She named him Aiden. He was a beautiful baby, but he had strange blue markings on his skin, just like the symbols she saw on the strange island. She knew he was a gift from Orin, the man who saved her. She raised him by herself. It was not easy. The other villagers talked about her and her son, calling them strange. Aiden was different. He was stronger than other kids, and he could be very quiet. He was a good boy, but he was always an outsider. Aiden grew into a teenager. He was often bullied by the other boys in the village who made fun of his quiet ways. One day, a boy pushed him and called him names. Aiden did not want to fight, but something inside him reacted. Without thinking, he looked at the boy, and the water around their feet suddenly froze into a block of ice. The bully was stuck. The villagers saw this and became very scared. They had never seen anything like it. They now knew Aiden was not a normal boy. They began to avoid him and his mother, and their fear made them even more alone.
Things got worse. One day, a pack of strange, frightening animals attacked the village. They had the body of a wolf and the head of a shark. The villagers screamed in fear. The animals were fast and strong, and no one knew how to stop them. Aiden saw his mother's fear, and the fear in all the villagers' eyes. He knew he had to do something. He stood in front of the animals and looked at them with his powerful blue eyes. He took a deep breath, and with a roar, he stretched out his hands. In that moment, he used all his power. A wave of ice shot out from him and froze every single animal in its tracks. The village was safe. Aiden had saved them, but his secret was now out for everyone to see. After that day, the villagers were more afraid of him than ever. That night, as he lay in his bed, he began to have strange dreams. He saw a city, his family, and a terrible destruction. It was the beginning of the visions that would guide him to his destiny. Aiden grew into a man, but the boy who wanted to belong was still trapped inside. His life was a constant battle between his humanity and his divine nature. The nightmares of the sunken kingdom grew more vivid, more terrifying. He felt the pain of the lost souls calling out to him from the depths of the ocean. The love his mother had shown him was the only thing that anchored him to the world, the only thing that kept him from giving in to the loneliness. He saw the kindness she showed to others, and through her, he began to see the goodness in the very people who shunned him. He was a protector in secret. He would mend the fishing nets that the storm had torn apart and mysteriously calm the angry tides when a fisherman's boat was in danger. He was the unsung hero of a village that never saw him as anything more than an oddity. Unbeknownst to Aiden, a prophecy had been passed down for millennia among a powerful, selfish group of water gods. It spoke of a boy born of a demigod who would be the key to ending the ancient city of Atlantis. These gods believed that by sinking Atlantis, they could harness its immense power and control the entire ocean for themselves. They had searched for centuries for the one who could be their key, and now they had found him. The day came when the gods of the sea decided to claim their prize. They came not with a ship, but with the full, terrifying power of the ocean itself. The sky turned a sickly green. The earth began to tremble, and a great tidal wave, taller than any mountain, rose from the sea. An earthquake ripped through the village, and the ground split open. The villagers, the same people who had feared Aiden for his entire life, screamed and ran in terror, knowing their time had come. Aiden stood on the shore, and he felt the raw fury of the gods. But he did not feel fear. He felt a love he had never felt before, a love for the fragile, terrified people of his village, the love his mother had given him. He would not let them be destroyed. With a powerful roar that was not of a man, but of the ocean itself, he thrust his arms out towards the village. The tidal wave, a liquid mountain, crashed down, but it did not touch a single home. Instead, it became a massive, shimmering blue bubble of water, a sanctuary that encased the entire village and all its people. Aiden used his demigod power to push the bubble out to sea, carrying the villagers to safety, far away from the carnage. As the villagers watched from the safety of their watery sphere, they saw Aiden, the boy they had rejected, stay behind to face the angry gods. He stood tall against the raging storm, a lone figure fighting for a humanity that never accepted him. He was a beacon of light, a symbol of selflessness in the face of annihilation. But no single being could fight the rage of the gods forever. He was overpowered by their combined might, and they dragged him back to the very ocean he was born to protect. The last thing the villagers saw was the blue light of the bubble fade as they reached land, and the boy they had rejected disappeared beneath the waves. A true hero who sacrificed his divinity for the very people who could never understand him. He was not a king, but a guardian. And his love for humanity, a love given to him by his mother, became his legend. And so the boy born between two worlds became a legend. A hero who saved a humanity that had rejected him, driven by a love stronger than any ocean's fury. He was not a king, but a guardian. But this legend was not lost to the waves of time. This ancient tale was whispered through the millennia, a forgotten myth that carried the soul of a hero destined to be reborn. The signs were there from the beginning. He was a demigod, born of a human mother and a powerful father from the sea. He bore mysterious markings on his body and walked between two worlds, an outcast from both land and sea. This wasn't just a story, it was a truth that proves the hero you know, the hero who lives between two worlds, has always existed. He was a guardian, a son of the ocean, and a protector of humanity. He was the real Aquaman.